Let there be peace and love and perfection throughout all creation, O God.
So let me ask you the big broad question about the role of the artist in the context of contemporary social and political life. How does the artist make an impact or through work, through music in this case, um, change things? What can we do? What can you aim to do with the work that you are creating?
Well, I think one thing that is important to me is the ability to dream of better worlds or better realities, I should say, a better world. And it could sound sometimes cliche, but I actually think it's not a simple or a cliche thing. You know, it actually takes a lot of it takes a lot of courage and also a lot of vulnerability to imagine that things could actually that whole saying about may there be peace, love, and perfection. I don't exactly know what perfection means, but just just that idea of like that there to be able to actually dream of a better world. And I think artists have a unique way of creating that world for ourselves and for others. So even if it lasts for that moment when you're on stage or when you see an image or you see a film or you hear something or you feel something, I think we really have a possibility to really excite people's imagination. And I think we really need that desperately, to keep inspiration and keep hope, because yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that. I wonder, often wonder, there's sort of a difference here between instrumental music, which creates vibrations and sound worlds, or music with text and lyric, where a message can be very directly transmitted by what we say. And in the case of spirits, there is text, there are names. It's a very powerful piece, precisely because you're saying things and intoning names.
Diana Stanley Jones. Freddie Gray.
Is there a difference between the ability to sort of imagine worlds through purely instrumental music, and in the case of Awakening, you're working on an opera, so I imagine libretto, detailed text, all sorts of directions you could go with that.
I like to think there's not a difference. I mean, there is some difference. You're right. Depends on what the text is like. One reason I like to collaborate with great poets and not do my own text is because I just admire the skill of poetry. Like I feel like poetry, like when Sharon Strange, like if I read a poem of hers or just other poets I love from different time periods, like Langston Hughes, and I made a piece based on one by Harriet Mullen, a contemporary poet, wonderful contemporary poet. So I don't know, just poetry has a way of doing something in the same way to me that music does. That's it's abstract, it's communicating something, but it's still abstract. So to me, depending on the type of text, it can be exactly the same thing to me as instrumental music, or you can have text that really explains something to you directly. That's an option. But yeah, I think it just depends. But I love working with great poets because it just makes me think differently as a musician. Like I have to maybe if the poetry goes a certain place emotionally or structurally or anything, it helps expand the way I approach music.
You mentioned the three important words: music, spirituality, and politics. Do those things find themselves in equal measure in each of your pieces, large and small, or?
I would say the spiritual side is always there as a fundamental in my music, and in the recent years, the political side has become more has become more pronounced than maybe in the past. But I feel like the spiritual. So first of all, I feel in my spirituality, the politics ends up being a part of it because I believe in like say at Bethany Church, my church in Newark with Reverend Howard. There's a focus on the afterworld, but it really is also about what you can do in this life, like to be truly engaged and make things better for the world around you. And so, and the whole like tradition of Black liberation theology, I'm usually drawn to people who come out of that tradition or thinkers that are concerned with the afterlife, but really like thinking, like for today, and other traditions that do that as well. So for me, my own personal spirituality is very interested in the afterlife, but not separate from this one. And so I'm very interested in freedom. And I realized this looking back at my work, I'm like, oh, I have a lot of songs that are about freedom, but I just didn't realize how long I've been doing this. So it's just something that I've always been fascinated with spirit and with freedom and with love. And so I was like, okay, well, let me build pieces just built off those ideas, because that's what I've been doing anyway. So that's how I'd say it comes together. But as far as politics, like the issue of police brutality has been one in particular that I felt moved to make music about. There are other issues that I care about, such as, the environmental issues going on right now and climate change. And there's a lot of things I care about, but as far as my things that I've felt compelled to write music about, it's really been that particular issue. And I just, just the way that I can deal with it.